Hello, my name is Scott Dillon. I am the Equal Opportunity Officer and Title IX Officer for ABCCM. I'm here today to speak with you all about ABCCM's obligations not to discriminate. To help fund the work we do, ABCCM receives funds under the Federal Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which replaced the Workforce Innovation Act. As a recipient of WIOA, ABCCM is prohibited from engaging in discrimination on the basis of race, color, national origin, disability, sex, age, political affiliation or belief, citizenship, and on the basis that someone is a participant in any program or activity that receives financial assistance under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, whether the program is provided by ABCCM or some other entity. This obligation for non-discrimination applies to our residents, volunteers, and staff. In addition to our legal obligations under the WIOA, ABCCM, either because of other laws or because it chooses to do so, has expressly adopted procedures that impose additional obligations on our organization not to engage in discrimination on the basis of an individual's parental status, marital status, family status, income, sexual orientation, or genetic information. We take our legal and self-imposed obligations seriously. We do not want people to feel that they cannot engage fully with ABCCM by virtue of who they are, and we want to make sure that employees and volunteers of ABCCM understand ABCCM's policies regarding non-discrimination. You should also know that we will give this training annually and to new staff and volunteers within 7 days of their joining ABCCM. Non-discrimination is ABCCM's responsibility. ABCCM may not discriminate against applicants for programs and employment, residents, staff, volunteers, or members of the general public on the basis that they are a member of a protected class. ABCCM will not retaliate against individuals who report discrimination, individuals who have furnished information to or assisted or participated in any manner in an investigation, review, hearing, or any other activity related to a discrimination complaint or other type of enforcement of non-discrimination law. To clarify what I mean when I say protected class, I mean that if you are a volunteer, employee, or applicant for employment, or member of the public, ABCCM cannot discriminate against you because of your race, color, religion, sex, national origin, age, disability status, or political affiliation or belief. If you are an applicant to, a participant in, or intended beneficiary of one of ABCCM's programs, ABCCM cannot discriminate against you because of your citizenship, for example, if you have a green card or were a refugee, or because of your status as a participant in any WIA or WIOA funded program. In addition to those obligations, either because of other laws or because of its own policies, ABCCM's own non-discrimination policies go beyond prohibiting discrimination based on the classes listed on the last slide. As staff or volunteer, you should know that it is our policy not to discriminate against anyone on the basis of the factors listed on the prior slide and the additional factors listed on this slide. This slide provides some legal definitions of how discrimination might manifest itself. So the more obvious type of discrimination is disparate treatment. For example, if a case manager said to a female resident of Steadfast House who wanted to access job skills training for a job that is traditionally performed by men that she ought to do something else because that job is man's work, that would be an example of treating someone differently because of their sex and or gender. Disparate impact can be less obvious. For example, if ABCCM had a rule that required volunteer cook teams to serve the shelter with the higher number of residents before taking volunteers to serve the smaller shelter, that would have a disparate impact on women who reside at Steadfast House. And to be clear, that is not our policy. The third broad class of unlawful conduct in the area of non-discrimination would be to retaliate against someone who engages in protected civil rights activity. So, for instance, if a resident believed that she had experienced discrimination and she reported it to me, if her case manager recommended that she be dismissed from the program because of the reported discrimination, that would be a form of retaliation. On a fundamental level, discrimination says to someone, "I reject you because of who you are." No one wants to experience this in a work setting, and especially not our residents who have enough on their plates as participants in our programs. ABCCM is not going to tolerate discrimination. An additional common type of discrimination is harassment. Harassment is unwelcome conduct on the basis of protected class, which creates an environment that is intimidating, hostile, or abusive. Unwelcome conduct can include but is not limited to offensive jokes, slurs, epithets, or name-calling, physical assaults or threats, intimidation, ridicule or mockery, insults or put-downs, or offensive objects or pictures. This slide provides some examples of how gender discrimination might manifest itself at ABCCM. Disparate treatment would be not giving men and women the same access to certain educational offerings, or choosing to serve one shelter because of a preference for working with a particular gender. An example of disparate impact would be a neutral policy that only individuals who can lift 100 pounds can work at ABCCM's free clinic. An example of retaliation would be where a volunteer refuses to serve a meal to a resident because she filed a complaint that ABCCM was discriminating on the basis of gender. Another form of discrimination would be pregnancy, childbirth, and related medical complications discrimination. Discriminating against a woman because of a pregnancy, childbirth, or medical condition related to pregnancy or childbirth constitutes sex discrimination and is strictly prohibited. For example, ABCCM penalizing a woman who needed to request time off due to a pregnancy-related sickness would be a form of this type of discrimination. Another form of discrimination is transgender status and gender identity discrimination. Transgender is an umbrella term for persons whose gender identity, gender expression, or behavior does not conform to that typically associated with the sex to which they are assigned at birth. Gender identity refers to a person's internal sense of being male, female, or something else. Gender expression refers to how a person communicates their gender identity to others through behavior, clothing, hairstyles, voice, or body characteristics. Discrimination against a person because they are transgender, identify as a particular gender, or because of how they express their gender constitutes discrimination based on sex and is strictly prohibited. Examples of transgender or gender identity discrimination would be prohibiting a person who is transgender from volunteering for ABCCM, or making jokes, conveying threats, or using verbal slurs to make a transgender program participant feel unwelcome in ABCCM's programs. These are examples of sexual harassment: threatening someone so that they will engage in unwanted sexual activity, sexual innuendo and comments, asking questions about a person's sexual history, ogling or leering, an unwanted neck or shoulder massage, brushing against a person or unwanted touching, frequent jokes about sex or men or women, stalking a person, letters or displays of material of a sexual nature, or attempted or actual sexual assault. This is not an inclusive list. Sexual harassment and the examples of gender discrimination that I listed on the prior slides are expressly prohibited by ABCCM. Report violations to ABCCM management, state, or federal officials. Non-discrimination is also your responsibility. As employees and volunteers, you are the face of ABCCM, and you may not engage in conduct that is discriminatory. Additionally, ABCCM may not engage in conduct that is discriminatory toward you. It is our hope that you will be treated with respect and in a non-discriminatory manner for the duration of your time with ABCCM. However, should you ever feel that you have experienced discrimination, we do not tolerate discrimination, and we want you to consider filing a complaint using the process outlined in this presentation. Additionally, should a resident ever approach you and tell you that he or she believes that they have been discriminated against on the basis of a protected class, then we want you to remind them that they can file a complaint with ABCCM or with the U.S. Department of Labor Civil Rights Center. If you experience discrimination at ABCCM because of your race, color, religion, sex, national origin, citizenship, age, disability status, or political affiliation or beliefs, you should follow the procedure outlined in the WIOA Equal Opportunity is the Law notice poster that you were provided with when you joined ABCCM, which also appears in the Personnel Policies document. This notice also appears on ABCCM's website. If a resident advises you that they have experienced discrimination at ABCCM on any of these bases, or on the basis of citizenship or participation in a program or activity that receives financial assistance under WIA or WIOA, please counsel the resident that they can go to our website or use the Resident's Handbook to access this procedure. I want to be clear that this procedure is separate from a different ABCCM grievance process that is to be used in the event that an issue arises and it has arisen for reasons other than race, color, religion, sex, national origin, citizenship, age, disability status, or political affiliation or belief. Please note that you have the option of filing a complaint directly with ABCCM through me in my capacity as EO officer or with the U.S. Department of Labor Civil Rights Center. So you can file a complaint either with me, Scott Dillon, or with the U.S. Department of Labor Civil Rights Center, but you should do so within 180 days, approximately 6 months, of the incident in which you believe discrimination occurred. Complaint forms are provided by ABCCM through its website, or you can ask for a hard copy of the form from me, Scott Dillon. If you are filing a complaint with the U.S. Department of Labor directly, they have forms on their website at the link above. The form will give you some guidance, but I would like for us to go over what needs to be in a complaint in order to be properly evaluated by me or the CRC. Each complaint must contain a signature of the complainant or his or her authorized representative. It must contain the complainant's name and address or specify another means of contacting him or her. It must identify the respondent, which is the individual or entity that the complainant alleges is responsible for the discrimination, and it must describe the complainant's allegations with enough detail to allow the EO officer or CRC director to determine a number of factors. These factors include whether there is jurisdiction over the complaint, whether the complaint was filed on time, and whether the complaint has apparent merit, that is, whether the complainant's allegations, if true, would violate any of the non-discrimination and equal opportunity provisions of WIA and or Title IX, or the regulations. I will acknowledge receipt of your complaint within 5 days of it having been filed. I will then review your complaint to determine if there is jurisdiction, and I will make that determination within 15 days of the acknowledgment letter. You may choose to attempt to resolve your complaint through alternative dispute resolution, but if you prefer, then I will conduct a full investigation into the allegations. You should also know that you have a right to representation, which need not be by an attorney. Your representative may be an individual of your choice. Your identity and the identity of any witnesses will not be disclosed to anyone unless it is truly necessary for the investigation. There are extra timing pieces if you file a complaint with ABCCM directly. Specifically, I have 90 days from the date of your complaint to issue a notice of final action. If I fail to issue a notice of final action within 90 days, then you have 30 days from the 90-day deadline to file a complaint with the U.S. Department of Labor's Civil Rights Center. If ABCCM does give a notice of final action, but you are not satisfied with the decision or solution, you may also then file a complaint with the CRC. That complaint must be filed within 30 days of receipt of ABCCM's notice of final action. Ultimately, ABCCM wants to go beyond its legal obligations and ensure that ABCCM is a place where everyone is treated in a respectful manner. We are committed to serving you. If you have questions about the training, you should feel free to direct them to me at scott.dillon@abccm.org. Volunteers can also fill out a question form and drop it off in the locked question box in the area where you're signing in to volunteer. A staff member may also email or leave a suggestion in the drop box. Your questions will be answered within 7 days.